Welcome to MSP Unplugged. I'm your host, Paco LeBron. This is the place to run your IT service business, whether you are a nimble MSP or leading a team for the journey. This is the place for you. Let me go ahead and introduce my co-host, my partner in crime. He's actually sitting right next to me, Mr. Rick Smith over at Renactus Technology. Rick, how the heck are you, my friend?
Doing good, my friend. Doing good. How are you?
What I like to say, better than I deserve. Yep, still from Mr. John Davinsky himself. But as you can see, we are live at Pax8 Beyond, live, fresh in color. And when I tell you there's been some nice drops of bombs in this place, there has definitely been some news to really talk about. But before we go into all that, you know what I like to talk about a little bit? It's about our sponsors that make this thing happen. Our sponsors for this episode is Huntress. Huntress allows you to deploy your managed detection and response for endpoints and identities in minutes. Powered by custom-built technology for SMBs and the expert analysts on their 24/7 security operations center. Head over to huntress.com/unplugged to find out more. And also, SuperOps. SuperOps is the AI-powered PSA and RMM platform designed for fast-growing MSPs. They provide a lean and powerful way to engage with clients and grow your revenue. Head over to the link in the show notes for your trial today. All right, Mr. Smith, as I mentioned, where are we?
We're in the lovely, as you can see in the background here, we're in Denver, Colorado at the Gaylord Convention Center, which is a beautiful place, nice big place. This is my first Pax8 Beyond event, and I got to tell you, I'm very impressed with it.
Yep. This is my second time here at Beyond, our first time recording. We're here right on the set. Huge shout out to Rob Ray, the CVP of Community.
Thanks, Rob.
Really appreciate him giving us the opportunity to help be able to highlight stories of other MSPs and other vendors alike here in this fine establishment known as the Gaylord's Convention Center. But we wanted to go into a little bit about kind of what's been going on with us. As you probably know, the podcasts have been a little bit sparse the last couple of weeks. Life has been happening. Things have been going on with the business, but we're going to be here on set and we'll be cranking out quite a few episodes for you all for your listening content. But Rick, what's going on in your world nowadays for the past 2 weeks?
Well, the past 2 weeks I've been doing the same thing and working as some of you know, I did an episode a couple of weeks ago just talking about some progress I've been making and some things I've been working on. And that's where my focus continues to be. It really continues to be working on the business as opposed to in the business. And, so some of the things I've been focusing on now is improving the website, improving some of the marketing tactics, and also still working out, our documentation, things like that. And the second part of this, of course, which we didn't mention too much of, but, part of my time is my other job and other responsibility, and that's TechCon Unplugged. So, just working on making sure we get that event ready for everyone so that when that comes around in September, we're set and everyone has a good time with that.
Yep, we'll have more information on there. We'll talk about that later here in the episode about how you can get involved with TechCon Unplugged and where we will be this year out in D.C. in September. A little bit over here, it has been my daily struggle with our current setup. As everyone knows, we had did a huge lift kind of overnight 2.5 months ago where we've completely shifted the way that we provide our service desk offerings. And so we originally had our internal folks that we were hiring through hiring agency / internal from Latin America, and we have since switched to a 24/7, 365 US-based outsourced help desk. When I tell you that it has been a struggle, it has been one of those where, it's a different model than we have been used to for the last 4 to 5 years. And so with any of that, it does take time. There will be some learning experiences and some bumps along the way. And so, as I mentioned in previous episodes, won't reveal who that is just yet. We're ironing out everything as we can. But my hope is with things that are going well over the past couple of weeks that we will be able to tell who that is, have them on the show, and explain how we've been able to find success in leveraging an outsourced white label help desk as your own extension of your own support force. So we've been working on a lot of that. We've been working with our contractor. We brought back John Davinsky to really help us with our documentation. And when I tell you documentation is life if you have been to any of our shows. So really it's been cranking out 4 to 5 pieces of content a day, really trying to drive the ability that a technician or anyone really, whether it's our admin folks, our in-house folks, or our remote folks, being able to look at something, take a look, and really understand how a client is set up or a particular issue. The documentation should help you with that as well. We've been really focusing a lot on, because of this process, working on our process and working on those automations with a lot of Intune work and really trying to figure out how to get a zero-touch deployment as much as possible. So a lot of that is thanks to Intune with SuperOps' agent and Nanite and others trying to kind of collaborate and combine all of those packages in one. So I know you've been really trying to work on getting your house in order as far as like automations and things of that nature, which we will have an episode with a special guest talking about automations. But has there been any of that you've been working on, where anything to make your your setups, your on-sites a little bit smoother in form of prep work or anything in the between?
Yeah, definitely. Efficiency really has been the key. We're trying to improve the efficiency of what we do. It'll save us some time. So we've been, experimenting, and you and I talk all the time. So I steal ideas from you all the time, and I'm not ashamed to say it. We just focus on, taking some of the ideas you give, some of the ideas, we read about, or some things we just know we want. And that has been the focus, trying to get those systems in place, really trying to get the systems to talk to each other. And we have to do less talking, I guess is the really way we want to put it, right? So, that part of it, just being more efficient has been the goal. I'll tell you, and I know you've been making this transition. It is not an easy transition. It requires a lot of work, dedication, but the main thing it requires is patience and persistence, though, right?
Right.
And I'll just say that, and just want to emphasize that when you're making a change, particularly from the way you used to do things, whether that system worked for you perfect or, it worked imperfect, change is still always difficult, but you have to see the end, and you have to do it with the end in mind, and that will always help you to stay motivated to keep going when things get a little tough. So
Yeah.
I'll just say it that way. I know, you experience and growing pains, want to pull out some hair or some teeth every now and then.
Well, you got to think, right? Like, you do business in a certain way for so long, you kind of get accustomed, and you get, what's the best word? Convenient. I can't think of the word right now. You settle, right? You try to make sure that you can at least enjoy the time that you have set up of all of the process and such. And so again, having run the business myself for 7 years until 2020, and then from 2020 on, hiring employees and leveraging an outsourced workforce that reported directly to me as our own assets, and really generating that camaraderie and things of that nature, to now move into a completely different way of doing business does take some time. We have said that we're going to be in many months of suck, is the way that I like to say it. We're in the 2.5 months of suck, but I think we're starting to hit that peak where we're right at the peak. So it's going to go a little bit easier for us as we kind of move forward with some of those. And again, that's where your documentation comes in place. That's where you go ahead and making some of the automations in place, really trying to focus. And as you had mentioned, seeing the end first and working your way back, allowing you to document all those items and really seeing the flows and putting it to work, trying to break it, trying to see how you can get that to work. And that's really what we've been trying to do over here as well. Wanted to talk a little bit about something that I found very well. So really a tool and a tip on my side. One of the things that I have been looking for is some type of RPA or some type of automation type of platform. There are those that are out there like Roost, there are all systems like that, like Pia and things of that nature. And so there's a lot of those type of platforms that is really the need to try and automate some of your things. Over the past 2 weeks, I have been hearing about a vendor named Electronique, around on social and around on, I somehow got involved in their email chain. And so really trying to dive more into what they were doing, found them and went over to the good website of AppSumo. For those that don't know what appsumo.com is, it's really a repository of independent vendors selling their solutions that can sometimes either augment what you're doing, add to what you're doing, or maybe even replace what some similar tools as well. And so downloaded it, been working on it. Very limited. It seems like they only work with ConnectWise right now, many other CRMs, but they have a lot of automations out of the box. But they also have an AI in it as well, where you can literally type in, if you want a certain automation done, it could build that out for you with their Electroniques Pro Studio. So I would implore you, go over to appsumo.com. It's like $79 at the time of this recording. If it's still available, it's a lifetime license, so it might be something to help you out with your automation needs as well. The last thing is a very interesting tactic that I heard on Tahir's podcast over at mspcamp.com, and he was talking to a gentleman, Mike Bloomfield. And so Mike Bloomfield over at Techie Geek was on there, who's doing an interview. So I credit him on this strategy. But, we have a few nonprofit clients that we go ahead and bring on, and oftentimes they will go ahead and request a discount. And so we have been providing discounts to our nonprofits, but we always ran into the problem of we couldn't write off the discounts because it's not amount of money being involved. According to my tax professional is what they're saying. Because it's my own labor or my own, you cannot write off discounts from a specific billing of an invoice. So what he had mentioned, which was a light bulb in my brain, was what he does is he charges the regular fees, and then he provides a donation at the end of the year and claims the donation. And I thought that was brilliant. So we went ahead now and we've restructured our nonprofit pricing. And now we've explained to them that they are now being billed for those months. And then at the end of the year, we provide the donation of what would have been those discounts to be able from there. So now we get the tax credit that we've been looking for and provide some alleviated help for those nonprofits as well. So something I thought that would be great to kind of pick up and talk about, but something, a little tip for anyone doing some nonprofit work and you're looking to do some tax credits and help you out, that should work out for you to help your favorite nonprofit. So we're going to get a little bit noisy here as we're going to run it through. We are, again, live in Pax8 over at the Gaylord Convention Center. And within in Pax8 Convention and Speed, we're going to talk about a little bit of the things that they actually had this morning. I don't know if you heard about this morning, how they talked about the millennial buyers are now the customer of now. Basically, as of today, almost 75% of the current buyers now have been born after 1982. And so that is a big thing because now their big thing is they don't want to hear from a salesperson. They don't want to get on a meeting. They want to be able to just knock it out, work on it, and just have to worry about doing it. I think they were mentioning that a majority of everyone that is currently purchasing services, they want to make sure integrations are involved. And I think that could be said a lot because we've been trying to get integrations with all of our stuff that we have for anything. And if something doesn't integrate with our core set of products, it doesn't really matter. So it's really trying to drive into a lot of what that's happening. And the big piece of it is, when you think of integrations, my brain kind of went forward. So when you hear integrations, Rick, what are you thinking when you talk about integrations specifically?
Well, it's just getting everything to work together. But I guess it goes to when you say forward, you talking about AI, did you mention it? Or
so I'm thinking so when we usually, our community, or for those of you listening, when we hear integrations, we're thinking about us internally.
Right.
So we're thinking about our PSA, our RMM, whatever is our hub that we're working with, identity and those principles, and what's integrating inside of those systems so we can provide better service. I actually took it, and my brain went a whole different route. My thing was, if you're standardizing or if you are doing a lot of work at a particular vector, so in my focus right now is legal right now. And so by focusing on the legal, there's a platform called Clio that has been a huge player for a lot of my employment law firms and a lot of the business contract lawyers that have been switching to this platform. The interesting thing of where I went to is how do you make integrations a sell point for these millennial buyers that are actually going into that side, right? And the biggest piece that I was able to say was if Clio will have a Microsoft 365 integration. They'll have other integrations that they're trying to keep there. They're trying to get their repository all good to go. So now my brain is where I'm going to now ask for what their pain points are and leverage the integration conversation and look at those. So if you don't know what they're using, find out what they're using for your particular client. Like I know a majority of my legal clients are using Clio. I know a lot of my construction clients are using other things. I have an auto glass client that uses a company called GlassPack, and that's one of the premier glass fulfillment softwares in all these clients. So if you work with them and start reaching out to their support, reach out to a rep, build some type of relationship, now you've gone around into a specific category to where you can actually be a subject matter expert. They don't have to reach out to the customer support, and it allows you to help with those integrations and provide that strategic advisor that they've been highlighting more and more about. So
yeah, I'm sorry. No, and the good part about that too, again, you now provide an additional service to your customer, right? You make things simpler, you make things easier by just, certain things that they may not have been aware of that you've taken the extra step to learn. Now, like you say, if Clio, right, is it, because I don't have any law firm, so, but if Clio integrates with Microsoft 365 and that helps the customer in any way save some time, get some efficiency out of it, then you become a value add to them, right? And that's what makes a lot of good sense. So yes, learning what our integrations are and what works with what. And again, the goal is this, right? Again, we're not going to solve every problem for a customer, but our job is to make it as easy as it can for them to run their business and be as efficient as possible, right? So things like that will work.
Well, I even think that, and even bigger, like you do a lot of dental firms that currently, right?
And eye doctors, yeah.
And the eye doctors. And so they use a particular software. I forgot what it's called, EagleSoft.
EagleSoft or Dentrix.
Or Dentrix.
And for the eye doctors is, oh, God, can't think of it. Right.
Shit. But there is a specific issue with one of those software where it says, Office Mail, okay, that doesn't work well with Office 365. Right? So that's an issue you already know for a doctor who's trying to figure that out, and they may be having some pain points where you already know of a solution to get around that right now to say, hey, we may not be able to do this, but here's how other clients of mine have found success doing so. So it's all about what you know and who you're working with. These are just two examples, but really understanding what your client is doing and trying to be that subject matter expert, just even on the software basis, will allow you to really focus on some of those things, such as integrations, as we talked about as well. And again, it's going into what they are saying this year. And again, this is from Jay McBain, kind of going through a lot of this information and these stats. And these are the few that we've pulled out. But another one is 2024 is the platform. It's the year of the platform, and everyone is looking to have one place to be able to put all their things or work on their things and kind of get everything inside of that sandbox in themselves. So they're really trying to figure out, how do we go and find that one location, that one thing to do and have support? And that's where I think we're going to come in very much so to really help with some of that going on. So that was a lot from the few things that we picked out from Jay McBain. Not sure if there was any other stats or anything that he had mentioned that really brought up some really great things to highlight for those that weren't in attendance.
Well, I don't know the number off the top of my head, but I do remember that our industry itself is expected to grow. The MSP industry itself and the MSP service industry is continuously growing. As the whole technology sector grows, MSPs have a huge, or MSP or services, let's just say, managed services, has a huge role in that. So what we need to do is stay on top of things, as Paco's saying, follow the trends, know what our customers are using, how to help them, because the pie continues to grow, and we want to definitely be a part of that pie and provide better services and deliver better services to our customers.
Yeah, it was fun. And I don't know the numbers either, but I do remember that they were highlighting very much so that even in the cybersecurity side, the cybersecurity vendors are making, for every dollar that we are purchasing or that they're selling off of that, there's a $2 that is being made. So it's essentially the IT services or the cybersecurity services business is doubling over what the cybersecurity vendors are providing. So that's providing so much more growth into what they're trying to do from there. And in this pie chart that they also showed prior to this was that IT services are at about, I think it was about 24%, and is now growing even more, that it should overtake. It's probably going to be about a third next time they look at these stats, where we now are having customers go through us to implement some of the technologies these other 2/3 are really trying to figure out.
You're right. And, one of the other things I found really interesting was we had this little talk about the growth of AI.
Yep.
And where AI is. And I find it very interesting. We use and I'm not going to get this right, but we use the red pill, blue pill example as what was used. And one side feels like AI is the end all be all of everything. Mm-hmm. And the other side feel like AI is like the doom and gloom of the world. And the truth is, when he said it didn't click into the end, but it makes sense. We've swallowed both pills, right?
Yep.
And we're in it now. And AI is growing. It's going to become more and more a part of our businesses. It's going to become more and more a part of our clients' businesses. As some of we talk about the LOB products now that our clients use, the line of business products that our clients use. A lot of those, some of them already have some form of AI in them, and a lot of them, the majority of them will have, some more AI or significant AI added to it in the coming years as they get new additions or, updates and upgrades, right? So we're going to have to be aware and be real conscious and be proactive about the role that AI is about to play in our industry, in our customers' industry, and just be smart about how we use it and, how we apply it.
Over the last 7 years, my MSP has partnered with Huntress as our go-to security platform, detect suspicious endpoint activity, and uncover hidden adversaries. If you've heard recently on several tech news outlets and subject matter experts, they're all saying the same thing. You have to have an EDR. That's why we've partnered with Huntress. I cannot tell you how many times we've onboarded a client through the agent on and all the fun that we found for us to clean up. It's no wonder why Huntress has been awarded one of the leading security solutions by G2. You'll hear comments like peace of mind or Huntress, the company that has your back. It's all thanks to their experts in their 24/7 SOC. It's the needed second set of eyes that we need. Not to mention, you receive detailed incident reports packed with expert insights written for all skill levels. To find out more, head over to huntress.com/unplugged for a trial so you can deploy in minutes with zero user disruption. Tell them that we here at MSP Unplugged sent you.
Are you tired of dealing with outdated PSA RMM solutions that come with a hefty implementation cost, complicated setups, and pricing structures that don't quite fit your needs? It's time to make a change. Meet SuperOps, a future-ready PSA RMM platform that streamlines IT operations, enhances customer support, ensures security, and boosts client satisfaction. With SuperOps, you get a PSA, RMM, IT documentation, network monitoring, and project management all in one place. Automation of repetitive tasks, enhanced productivity, and reduced errors. You get actionable insights with proactive monitoring to prevent issues. And one of my favorite things, dedicated support from a team committed to your success. SuperOps also offers transparent pricing, putting you in control of your cost. So what are you waiting for? Try SuperOps today for free and evaluate your MSP operations.
Yeah, so the new Pax8 CEO, Scott Gasson, had mentioned his kind of his presumptions of what's going to happen over the next X amount of years. The message was very clear. AI and all of the derivatives of AI will happen in a matter of years, not in a matter of decades. And so, as much of Moore's law, where it's basically twice for every 2 years of the transistors capacity and moving forward, and I think that they use that leverage for how fast technology is growing. They've now adopted this, or not adopted, but there's this new metric that they've introduced, which is AI-driven model, where now it's going 10x every few years. And so with that, he shared some near-term and mid-term and long-term what he believes is going to be happening in the space for us. And so for the near term for MSPs, he mentioned that there's going to be a lot more of AI-driven decision-making. There's going to be a lot more AI services. Cybersecurity will change because of AI for better or worse, and that's both in the technologies and for those that are using the threat actors to outsmart some of those things as well. They're also looking that there's going to be adaptive marketplaces to adhere to some of these things. And because of all this and the AI and the structure and the aggressiveness that's happening with our space, consolidation will continue, both on the MSP side, but also on the vendor side as well. So they even said that they are possibly confident that in the next 24 months, there will be the first $1 billion revenue MSP in our midst. And so that's going to be
Paco.
Yeah. Let's not get carried on ourselves, but we got goals, right? But I think for us, and then kind of going into the midterm of it, which is within 3 to 5 years, they're really talking about how the autonomous MSPs are going to emerge, meaning that decisions are going to be made from the autonomy of things being created. Level 1 help desk things, and we're not talking about systems and things. We're talking about chatbots are gone. These things are going to be helping systems, helping people, things of that nature. We're going to now turn from being service providers to strategic providers and really being able to be strategic partners and advisors to our clients, which we should be doing now. But more and more, we no longer are going to be managing anything. We need to be trusted and really helping with the strategy for our clients moving forward. And then now there's going to be this built global collaboration network where everyone's marketplace, everyone's systems, everyone's even workforce will now collide and collaborate in a holistic approach to really guide and move forward with the MSP space. Then it got real freaky.
Yeah. This is the part that got scary.
This is the stuff that where you want to make sure Will Smith is not around. because they were talking some iRobot stuff around here.
Exactly.
And so what they basically said was, in this $3 trillion industry, they were going to talk about embodied AI, that there are going to be robots, humanoid robots, not just regular robots, humanoid robots. And there are many private companies right now backed with deep pockets that are making this happen right now. But because of that, their presumption is going to be, we're going to go from the RMM to the RRM, the remote robotics management, where we will be managing and maintaining robots as we do with computers now. Being able to maintain and move from that and really focus on robotic security. And then now go into collaborative robotics, where robots are not just going to be in manufacturing or warehouses. They're going to be in dental offices. They're going to be in grocery stores and fast food. And like, it's going to be this adhering thing where these humanoid robots will be here in 10 years. So when I heard that, I damn near fell out of my seat, because I was like, to think of a time where we thought that this was so sci-fi, and it was even said that this is where sci-fi and reality meet, is something for the masses to really understand that it's going to be an interesting time.
Right. Times are coming and things are changing for us. So the best thing we can do is stay on top of things and again, be open to evolve as the business evolves. And, that's most important. It's not only getting systems, you keep hearing me preaching about getting systems and getting efficiencies, but it's being adaptive and being open to knowing how things are changing so that we can stay on top of those, so that our clients are aware of how things are changing. It, again, I think about the whole iRobot scenario, and we always think about it because of the way the movie went itself,
right,
that it could all be negative, right?
Right.
But there is a lot of positive benefits to this for us in our industry, but for humankind as well, right? So let's think more on the positive side of what this can do, but just keep in mind, for every advancement that we make in technology, there is someone out there who will who will do what they can to exploit the system, right? And this is exactly the challenge we have now, right? We work with our clients to protect their networks, try to, keep them safe, or as I put to them, I do the best I can to keep you safe, but my real job is to make sure when things go wrong, we can get you back up and running as fast as you can, so that, or with less, less inefficiency or less downtime as possible, so that you can get back to doing what you need to do, right? So it's the same thing we'll be doing as time evolves, as products evolve. Just think about it. 10 years ago, we weren't thinking about AI. 10 years ago, we didn't even think of the term EDR, right? Or, some of the things that are right now that we talk about now, if you've been in the industry long enough, things just evolve, right? And we just have to, we stay adaptive, we stay on top of things, and that's our job. So again, the times are coming, we can't run from them, we can't fight them. So the best thing we can do is to continue to just be smart and help to learn what we can, educate our clients, and continue to keep moving forward.
Yeah, I will leave you with this stat that they mentioned about AI. And for those considering and just thinking that this is a fad, or they just are not going to bother to deal with it, AI right now, that they have surveyed many of the MSPs, that if you do not engage with with AI in some way, shape, or form, that 80% of those that they've talked to feel that they will be either obsolete or overlooked because of the advantages that AI is providing MSPs and services and technology and things of that nature. So my suggestion is learn more about it, see if it's about for you, and if it's a different niche that you want to focus on. But for those that are running a MSP and a managed service providing business, AI is something that you will have to leverage. But in the event that you're curious or trying to figure out how do you manage this, how do you look into this, how do you learn, you attend things similar to this. And what we can tell you at TechCon Unplugged, we will have a lot of these details talked about. We will have Manjur speaking on AI and how that will affect you legality-wise. We will have some members over there at TechCon to talk about AI, Copilot, and things of that nature to help benefit you in there. So we will have some resources available for you, and of course this fine podcast as well. But while we're on the note of TechCon Unplugged, I do want to talk about our annual gathering of IT business owners. It is fast approaching. We will be at the Hotel of Arundel Preserve, September 12th to the 14th. We'll be welcoming you all to a welcome reception, and then we're going to be going into an amazing 25-plus educational sessions. Again, 2 networking events, including that welcome reception and the after-hours entertainment, and all expo hall meals, refreshments, and the happy hours are all included in the ticket price. You'll get automatic entrance in the generous raffles, and then you can walk away with concrete action items to take your business to the next level. So I implore you, head over to techconunplugged.com, get your ticket today, and we'll be happy to see you and hopefully provide that better value to get you to that next level.
I just want to add one part on that before we sign off, Paco. One of the things, again, and I talked about this recently, and I think this is important, is we're talking about AI, right? And I say this way. We don't always want to think of AI as the tool that's going to be able to do everything for us. We want it to be, it's the tool that's going to help us, right? Or it's supposed to help us move forward. And this is the same thing when we talk about TechCon Unplugged. I use this analogy for a reason. One of the things that we get from an event like TechCon Unplugged that I've gotten the most out of, and I've heard a lot of people who've come to TechCon, is the support and relationships they build with others, right? To help them move their business forward, to help them, learn or adapt different things that they hadn't done before. So I emphasize again, we have a lot of great things going on with TechCon Unplugged, but I do think one of the most important things, and Paco and I used to say this all the time, but Paco used to say it, and I used to always copy it and say it, because one of the most important things is those conversations that happen in the phone.
Yeah, how it works out.
And I just want to emphasize that the friendships, the relationships you build at TechCon Unplugged will go a long way in helping your business move forward. So I'll leave it there.
Yep. So I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up from here. As we mentioned before, if you like what you hear, tune in every week. Watch the video podcast on youtube.com/MSP Unplugged. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification button to be notified whenever a new episode is available. You can also take us on with you on the go on your favorite podcatcher app. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on Amazon Music. Don't forget, as we've already plugged quite heavily in this episode, head over to TechCon Unplugged to get your tickets today. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time on MSP Unplugged.
Yes, that.